Good morning, everyone. I, Samanraj Arora, from Batch 2014 SSCMHS. With the blessings of Lord Siddheshwara, today we are with our second surprise, ANTAD ma'am. So, ma'am, after a long time, how does it feel?
It feels nice to meet you all,
Yes.
and I'm looking forward to this event also. Really, we had 2, 3 get-togethers, and we did enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
And so, but with a big number of students attending, I think this event will be a very successful, and we will be very happy to see all the children. We may not react with each and every child, but all the children should keep in mind that they are there in our, the presence is there in our mind, in our heart, and
So, teacher, it's been a long time. So, you can just brief us about yourself, how it's been the whole journey, everything.
the journey was a lovely one. First thing, I've enjoyed it immensely. I started working in Sri Siddheshwara English Medium School in 1983, 1st July, and first time Kagadi had taken my interview. That time I just graduated, and my graduation I had done after having 3 children and marriage.
Baapre.
And my final result was not announced. And it was just said, I mean, will you pass? I was saying, I will pass. We both kept on saying the same thing, and that was a really funny thing. And then in the end, I said, for all the semesters, I've had 68% or 65%. I was 65%. So why will I fail? Why do you think that way? That was the question. And another thing he insisted was, you have to continue with your education. Yes, I want to continue with my education, and so I've come again in this field so that I can do something for. That way, I joined in 83, first batch was first standard. Asim Sindhi,
Yes,
Naina
we
Makkar,
still
and
remember
all
Asim
of
Bhaiya.
Shamit Hudaikar. There were so many. Amol Muzumdar, the most noticed. Then Surabhakar.
Yes.
um, that in 85, myself and him, the teacher who did DA. Together we were in that time even Bharti teacher was there. She was working in another school, but we were all there. Later on, she joined us. And then that way, in the olden days, what was the norm? When we would start teaching first standard, we had to go for first, second, third, fourth, again back to first. And that way, that one batch had to tolerate me for 4 years.
Arre baap. It was not tolerance exactly. It was they were enjoying it.
But later on, that batch I have taught for maximum use.
Acha.
That one batch I've taught for maximum use because later on for first, then again I came back to first and I was shifted to high school. Again those same batch. That way nearly for at least minimum after 10 years, 8 years I've taught.
It was a lovely journey considering that.
Same students, same. I was also familiar. They were also familiar. We enjoyed it. Then later on, I again did my MA. I did my BA in the process. Then slowly, fifth, sixth, seventh. From there, I was shifted to ninth and tenth English. Fifth, sixth, science was there. It was going on. Himla, the teacher,
Our supervisor.
our supervisor. She was a real supervisor.
Exactly.
Then Giri teacher, she joined later on. Abhida Sheikh teacher, she joined a few days, 15 days after me. She was there. It was a friendly atmosphere, nice. Whatever was there, we would discuss and solve the problems. Anyone person was facing any problems to discuss. And that time we had only one class. So there was no workload at all, was not much. There were not many teachers also. But what problem of a school is teacher will come, teachers will go.
Go.
Permanent, we only 5, 6 teachers were
Exactly.
permanent. And at the help was Tiwari. Tiwari ma'am was there and all the other teachers. And slowly, Some teachers became permanent, they stayed on, but there were many who just came and went, and that was very hard. The students as well as the other teachers, because we had to adjust to all that. We had problem, especially with Marathi, Hindi teachers. Then later on, Hindi, she became a permanent. Then Vinte teacher came. Marathi and Hindi became permanent. There was no disturbance in that. Then Green teacher managed maths and science. Remember the teacher?
History,
Our
geography.
history teacher. The school went on.
So like this journey is a very long journey. Do you remember some funny incident or moments in your whole
Funny
journey?
was the first opening day of the school. We would all be there in the staff room, and we would be all very enthusiastic. Which class we did, the students were also equally enthusiastic. And then, but here the teacher never gave an inkling who will be the class teacher of each class.
Surprise.
Surprise. She would clutch those papers in her hand. When the bell would ring, she would hand out the paper, the slip of papers with our timetable and the name of the class.
There was no timetable before. Like we used to get that timetable like
No. Because she would give a piece of paper, and we would go. Then we would write it on the board, and then we would go to our classes, and the students were equally enthusiastic to know who is our class teacher. And then when they would see me, oh, because I was quite strict, but the parents were relieved. And the teacher is there, so full year, no bother issue. The children also, I don't think they would do, they would do. Even when I used to go for supervision, the same. Other teacher.
like I still remember that there is a saying in Marathi की धाक असते टीचरची ते धाक फक्त only in during our period principal ma'am means ANTAD teacher, no one else.
No one used to, I used to do nothing. I was not straightforward. So yes, one thing was that I had a very keen eye. Any student doing any mischief anywhere,
You will catch him
I
for
would
sure.
and because of that, the children were wow. Then they would
Yes.
smart up, keep quiet.
Like after all this, during my times when I was in the school, you were the principal for the primary
Yes, I was
section.
primary.
What's the story behind that? Like how everything came into that track?
No, the class, the division started increasing. And then the school department, they wanted a separate primary. They wanted and high school separate. So then we had 3 divisions.
Exactly.
And then 3 till 4 they became then, so they decided to separate. And because I was have already worked in the primary section and I had a DA and BA.
Exactly.
I was shifted as the
Principal.
I did really enjoy that also.
We as a student also enjoyed that.
There was a discipline and exact timetable and time frame was allocated. You might have understood only that all the subjects were taught quite differently. The teachers also followed a different. That time I introduced the mode of question bank.
Exactly.
Question bank book. The teacher had to remove at least 25 questions on each lesson. And then that was all corrected by me, and then the teacher would give it on the board. There's not that anyone came, she wished as this teacher wishes, as the other teacher wishes. We had a uniformity, and the language was introduced properly. And there were many changes made where everyone was thinking, no, it will be hard. But the students did pick up.
Before the lesson also, as you mentioned about question bank, I also remember about the lesson. Before the teacher used to start the lesson, spellings. Yes. They used to dictate difficult spellings and they used to make it learn.
Make the children learn. And from first standard, the child could not read textbooks. So we started as a simple method. Simple sentences were written. Now simple information of the elephant. 5 sentences of the elephant. On cat, dog. And then The teacher would write it on the board, the children would repeat, and she would make them read. And that comprehension was started.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in the exam
Exam
also,
also.
unseen comprehension was given right from first
First
time.
standard.
And the students really did good. Means then I realized that it is the students do everything, only we have to get it done.
Exactly.
If the child is made to walk fast, also he will walk, he will run, he will do everything. Only what the content should be different, it should be interesting. That way only for KG class, ABCD was not at all introduced for 6
Are
months.
like
Yes. No. The
literally
teacher, no, literally no ABC. We started with lines, straight lines, falling lines, curvy lines, this line, that line.
I still remember
all
phonics. Phonics you have introduced.
In phonics was introduced because of our Montessori
Montessori
school. And for 6 months, the parents, when we all are going to teach ABCD, just to fight with literally. You know, you're not worry. Even our teachers vary. If you are not teaching ABCD, the parents are fighting like, what will do? You are not worry. I'm there to face. And after 6 months, teaching only this, we used to teach them drawing, coloring, everything was done.
I still have those
No,
paper at home
yes,
drawing.
we made a file and done everything. And after 6 months in the second semester, ABCD was started. And the children learned with perfection within a month.
It's the same like today my mama, what she does, she asked me the spelling for some difficult words. I can pronounce it easily.
Yes.
Like that was the base was very strong.
Base, you know. And what helped me in teaching, in changing my teaching method was, along with my teaching this, I had done my MA. I did my BA. And I was BA with psychology when I started working.
Achha.
Then I completed DA. Then I completed BA. MA. But what my BA was with psychology and not with English. So again went back and did BA with English. And that really helped me understand the language. The base, we say what is there in the BA English? कुछ तो लिखो पढ़ो पेपर पे कुछ तो पढ़े के मार्क्स देंगे चलो. It's not that way. In final year BA, all the technical aspect of the languages.
Basically, for any building, the base जो पाइथा रहना चाहिए, it should be strong.
Technical, there is a technical aspect to the language also, and that has to be followed. And when introducing a lesson, you need to give a lot of knowledge about the author. Exactly. Because I was doing the MA, I was able to give that to my students. Because I was learning about the authors themselves. And their method of writing, their style of writing, and then there was a paper of criticism. Means why does the writer, the poet, use those specific words and those specific lines in that specific way? That is criticism. We have to be the critic there. We have to be the critic. But we are not going to criticize as per our knowledge. We have to think and critically exclamation of how he worked, what his theme was. Like being, it was just like being in his shoes and. He had to be in his shoes and write why he did that, why he used the specific formula. And that is all. I had never failed in any subject, but I had failed in that one criticism paper in a year. Wow. I was so upset. As to do all my, I've given my all education is external. So then I went to the university and then we know a professor, and then he removed my paper and he said, no, you are not written your paper properly. See. And then how is it to be written? Then he showed me another paper. Then he called that professor, and that professor explained to me. It took 2 hours to me to explain. I came back. I said, I've been such a dull person in evaluating this. I came back. Then again I reviewed. I had got 75 marks in that paper. It's just like that, failure is the first stepping stone for your success. For this same thing. I failed in my life, but I remember it very nicely. But yes, my husband also took the pain to take me to the university. We had links. They removed my paper. They removed other papers. We had a discussion. And then I understood my mistake. And so students are made to understand the mistake. Just don't criticize them for their non-performance.
Exactly.
But if they are told why they are not performing properly,
Then they will change
they will
themselves.
change.
Like same thing I remember. I just while starting when we met, I discussed our incident with my father and you. Like the same thing. I committed a mistake. I really got less marks in Marathi, and you called him for that. And why is this thing happening with you? You just show him. You said nothing. Like there was a problem for Marathi since Papa doesn't used to speak Marathi and Mummy also doesn't used to speak. Then Papa said this. You do nothing. Just tell him you have done this mistake. Just show him his mistake and just tell him I am there behind of him and he will learn from it and he will succeed. Just don't give up on it. From that day till today, I'm not giving up on my dreams on anything. Like I've imbibed that lessons of yours in my own life.
One more very funny thing is, even Marathi speaking students, they used to get less marks in Hindi. They used to do very clear. They used to perform very properly in Hindi subject. Then it worried me. I said, why the students speak? Most of our students were other language only. Marathi speaking students were very less. Hindi why? Because of
Like national picture movies.
movies. Then they used to see on the TV. So they were quite fluent
in
Hindi, and the students also would not complain about Hindi. But Marathi is really
exactly.
it is not a very easy language, and none of the teachers to teach really nice. Then later on, the teachers. But considering to English language and Hindi language, Marathi language is really
tough.
For one word, they have 10, 15 words, and you have to remember.
Exactly.
But it is a very beautiful language. Now, I have never learned Marathi. I cannot write Marathi. I'm clean. No, I cannot. Kana matra, melody.
Like today it is like कुछ secrets बाहर आ रहे हैं आज ऐसा हो गया हमारे को.
Because I have never learned it. Then, but I have read great books like Chava, Yayati, Swami, these all books. No? I have read in Marathi. I go little slowly. I had gone quite slowly, but I did read. Swami, at least I think I've read it nearly more than 5 times. Yayati 3 times. It's a very big book.
Achha.
Then Swami, there are many such books. Because they are very beautiful books.
Exactly.
But today also I remember the minor points that the author has written.
So repeatedly you have gone through it, na?
No. And when you read books, no, you should read it at different age. You read it at 15, there's a perception of difference. You read at 18, you read at 25, you read at 50, the perception goes on changing. What you take from that is very different. What you learn from that same literature is very, very different. That I learned. So at different stages of my life, my reading was my greatest hobby. Tell you frankly, Reader's Digest I have read from 1942. My father had a collection. He used to take Reader's Digest. He was in the army, and he had 2 boxes were there in the house. What was there in the box we didn't know. They were packed and sealed and kept. And then one day I removed it. They were all full of Reader's Digest. Beautiful.
That curiosity, what is in that book?
No, the box is there. No one
used to touch it.
They would use everything was dusted and again kept in the cupboard. Then one day we said, what is there? I just removed. And all those so many years I had not thrown them away. Even I have subscribed.
Reader's Digest.
Good Housekeeping, Prevention. These now what? They are all online only. And I don't like online. Yes. So my reading has gone.
Since ma'am you have these many years of experience, what piece of advice would you give to the upcoming or arising English teachers in the future who are planning to become an English teacher?
Good teacher. Good question. English is a global language. It is spoken all over the world by nearly 90% of people. But it should be taken as a language.
Exactly.
English as a language, spoken language, literary language are very different.
Exactly.
Today, we have the concept only of spoken English. No problem. But it should be a bit grammatically correct. And no teacher should take their students for granted that they know English.
Like as in we are
Huh.
speaking different languages from our
Yes.
household.
Everyone speaks different, or they have a different mother tongue.
Exactly.
English is literally very less spoken in
India.
India, especially in our Solapur. At home, at least they don't. No one reads English newspapers. English reading, newspaper reading is an essential for our thing today. Viewing English news, how they present the pronunciation and all is very much essential. And the teachers should teach grammar properly, so the language will fall on its own.
Exactly.
Actually, in school, when we were teaching for 10th standard, we used to harass IITs used to harass myself for me. Oh, my students will be secure more marks. And today, when I see the same students speaking such fluent English, when they have gone out in the world, all the pain I have taken or
anything you have endured was like
I was going through all of movies. The child will learn, the students will learn, the people will learn on their own when they are exposed to the language. So exposure is the best teacher.
So in summing up to our whole discussion, I would like to ask our last question.
Yes.
What message would you like to give for the people who are unsure to attend our MILAAP tour 2025?
Make sure that you attend them. Such events come once in a lifetime. If it is arranged again, it won't have the same
Enthusiasm.
No one will be so enthusiastic about it.
Exactly.
So this is the first time. Come. Don't judge anyone. Come. Enjoy and make the event more successful. And the enjoyment is on a personal level. Try to connect with people, with your own students, with your own school, and with the city in which you are living.
Exactly.
You are born, most of the students are born and brought up and grown up in this city. Come back to the city you love.
Exactly.
You are coming back to your own life.
So friends, like it's on 11th May, MILAAP 2025. As our ma'am said, do visit, do enroll yourself, and we are eagerly waiting for you.